right now in the middle.
She bought you one.
He used to be.
We're right now in the middle.
She bought you one.
He used to be.
I don't want to take pictures.
Thanks, Robin. I don't think so. But then over here, yeah.
Your phone, George.
Mine?
Yeah. Is it? Oh no, it's done. I'm just gonna get you because the more raw footage you have of this is better. Because you don't have any class shots, huh?
No, in case that goes out of power.
You don't have another battery?
No.
Okay.
That might be a bit of a challenge.
How long is the DVD? How much can I record?
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Or 20 minutes, I'm sorry.
So, and how long are you gonna talk?
Well, my talk's not really the important.
You want the professor?
Thing is
Okay.
him saying that, and then I'm gonna have two students at the end.
At the computer. Okay.
Computer. So
Beautiful.
those two shots are the most important ones.
Great. Bruno, do you mind just erasing the board?
Yeah, totally.
Right, Mr. Noah. Right, Stephen Colbert. Right, that means.
I haven't seen one of these seats like in 20.
I guess in preparation for next week's walk over to the Columbus Center, where there'll be 4 MPPs debating an important issue, something that will probably shape how organs are donated in Ontario for the next several years. And usually things like this don't change unless there's maybe a generation that passes or so. But it's an important discussion. It's also an issue that you either confront and discuss, or you try to avoid and you perpetuate the problem. But we're all here, and we're all here at least with our ears open. And last night, I hope you covered some of the material to at least familiarize yourself with some of the issues and some of the directions as to where this can go. So right now, I'll just pass the floor.
Okay, first of all, the first question I wanted to ask was, has anybody been studying this or looking at this? I just want to get a feel. Yeah?
Yes, right.
Okay, so did you go on our website? The step-by-step website or the SOS 4000 or Christopher's Wish? Okay, so you don't know anything about my background? Okay, I just was trying to see if I can skip over my background if you could. Okay, basically, I received a liver transplant in 1995, and shortly after that, I walked across Canada. And the reason why I walked was because Canada had this big shortage of organ donations, and I was seeing too many people that were passing away, and too many organs that were going to waste. And Canada has actually one of the lowest rates in the whole world, and it's been that way for quite a while. Okay, so you guys knew that though, right? Yeah, okay. Now, during my travels, I was getting a lot of media coverage. I was talking to a lot of students like yourselves, and I was also talking to a lot of politicians. So we were trying to bring attention to an issue that wasn't really getting any attention at that time. And it was sad enough to see the people that I was seeing in the hospital pass away while they were on waiting list. But thinking of the kids that were passing away was even that much harder. So there had to be a lot of work done to get this attention. Not only from the public to make them aware, but also from our government to make them aware how important it is, and why are we at the bottom of the rates when it comes to comparing ourselves to the rest of the world. So, anyways, more or less that's my background, and so I've been at this now for about 10 years, and in the past 10 years we've made a lot of strides. With the government, with the public, with the media and everything, and just a long ways to go. But recently, I was fortunate enough to get a second liver transplant a year ago. So I'm doing well now. I want to get back at what I was doing best before, and get back into this advocacy role. And one of the first big events that's going to be coming up is this event on Tuesday, and that's what I want to prepare you in the classroom today with, because this is going to be very important, this event. It's probably going to be one of, if we look back, even historians, and I'm serious about this, when historians are going to look back at Canada and they're going to try to figure out, why did Canada have such a low rate? One of the reasons is because our government never really debated this issue or discussed the ways of improving the issue. So what's taking place on Tuesday is a very important event, because we're going to have 4 politicians for provincial members, and that's the first question, or the first part of this presentation I want to ask you, is how familiar you are with private members' bills. Has anybody been studying up on that? Okay, you guys got 4 days to study up on that. Because you need to know this, because I'm hoping to introduce you guys as a class that's been studying really hard, because we're going to get a lot of attention that day. Like, not to put any pressure on you, but we're going to have some media there, and politicians are looking forward to meeting you guys, and you're going to become like the classic, or the, like your average school, and you're probably not average, probably better than average, right? But you're going to become like the average school right across Canada. Like you're going to be representing all the students right across Canada. That's how important your role is going to be. So it's going to be important to learn 3 things. First of all, the private members bill system and this movement, if you get a chance to help them with that. In Ontario, and as well as federal parliament, we have a procedure in our legislature on how we pass our laws and how they become law. Now, they usually start off as a private member's bill, and that's when any member that got voted in, and he's a member of parliament, and I think we have about over 100 members right now. The Liberals have the most members, and then the Conservatives, and then the NDP. They each, among their many duties, one of their tasks is to create private member bills, and that's any kind of bill that they think and they hope will become law in any issue in our province. So whether it's a health issue, an education issue, so on and so on. So that they do that constantly. Like every day, there's always a private member's bill coming. So you need to find out you know, what is a private member's bill? And what's the procedure of a private member's bill? There's 3 readings with a private member's bill. Now, at first, you do your first reading, the member comes out and introduces the bill, he writes it out, and then introduces it in the House. That's called the first reading. So the first reading gets accepted, and it's sort of an introduction. Then the tough part is the second reading. He schedules a time to bring his bill so he can have a second reading in front of the House. And at that time, it's usually iffy whether it's going to get passed or not to be carried to the third reading. Most bills at that time, I'd say about maybe 40% of the bills get dropped off. And a government in power usually has the right to quash the bill before the person even gets a chance to get to the second reading. And that's what happens with a lot. So right now your Premier McGinty, and he has what he does, besides a million other things, is every day he's looking at these private members' bills and he's saying, that one, so he's got the right to do that. And so to get a private member's bill passed on the second reading, you're doing pretty good, you know. The possibility of one of these private members' bill becoming law is like 2%, 3%, so 97% of them will never make them. So once you get past the second reading, then we're getting into the third reading, and that's the real important one, because that's when all the discussions come out and everybody's researching the bill and the issue and everything. So it's more intensive, you know, and if it's going to get passed, it's going to go through quite a thorough investigation. And so then if it does get passed at the third reading, it becomes law. And then that's why in our province, we have all these laws, you know, that we're following. They originate from private members' bills, most of them. There's government bills and then there's private members' bills. Well, you know, there's a lot that originate. So does that give you a bit of a better understanding? Okay. Now there's going to be 4 members there, 4 politicians. They're called MPPs. And one of them is from the NDP party. His name's Peter Carmos. And he's presenting the bill, which is called they're terming it the Presumed Consent Bill for Organ and Tissue Donations. They're all related to organ and tissue donation. Then we have a conservative, Frank Cleese, and he's presenting a bill as well. And his bill is almost like the opposite of Mr. Carmos's bill. It's not a presumed consent bill, it's an informed bill where you still have, you're not put on a register. I'll explain that a little bit later. And then we have 2 liberals, Mr. Lalonde, Chief Mark Lalonde, and Mr. Dave Levac. Mr. Lalonde, his bill is, he wants our, when we choose to become organ donors, he wants that to become legal binding. Right now it isn't. Our families have to make the decision. And so he hopes to make it law where if we make the decision, the family can't touch your decision. That's what he's trying to do. So, and then the fourth is a lot less controversy, which I was there to support last week. And it's the educational bill. And that's done by Mr. Levac. Mr. Levac is passing a bill where it makes it mandatory. This might be interesting to you, Mr. Lucan, where organ and tissue donation gets into the curriculum. And so then every school will be studying organ and tissue donation. And that passed the second reading last week. And we have a strong feeling it's probably going to become law, like sources tell us. So that's the 4 bills. So that's just the second duty, is to study the 4 bills. I received all the...
We all have a copy.
Okay. And so I'll just give you a little bit about the 4 bills right now, so it might make it easier. When I mentioned Mr. Peter Thomas's bill, the presumed consent bill, in his bill, he's hoping that it gets passed, and if it does, everybody is already a registered organ donor, right? And you have the option of opting out.
Hello. Hi.
So with that bill in place, which is the most controversial bill. The politicians are saying that, but they have no idea how the public feels about this. That is complete opposite to Mr. Klee's bill. And his bill is the license bill, where when you go and get your license or your health card, they will ask you 3 questions. Do you want to become an organ donor? Or don't you? Or you're not ready to decide. So you have to answer those 3 questions before they give you a health card or your driver's license. So it's a little different if you can see that. And is that Angelo? Okay, do you think maybe, yeah, and I'll just talk to him and I'm going to have Rob ready. Yeah, if you do. We're just going to try and follow some of this. Yeah. And I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Is that okay? Okay.
You're with me.
Okay. Hi, Angelo. I'm just out of the room right now.
That's the operator.
Oh, yes.
David.
Yeah, we don't have
Hi, kids. My name is David Lombardi-Harte. How are you? I'm a friend of George's. I work at Chin Radio TV International, which is a multicultural radio station in Toronto. And about 8 years ago or so, George had just completed his first walk, I believe it was a walk across Ontario. And he first introduced this issue to me in my role as public affairs at the radio station. And back 8 years ago or so, when someone talked about organ and tissue donation, he just got a really yucky, gross feeling. But George is such a champion. He's so dedicated. He's so relentless in his cause that it really attracted me to him as a person, so we became friends. So that's particularly why I'm here today. Every cause requires a champion.
So it really deserves a lot of talk and attention.
When I was at University of Toronto, I would get my parking permits in this building on Spadina Circle, and it was also the eye bank of Ontario. And when I was growing up, my parents owned a grocery store, and olives used to come in barrels about this tall and this round, and the staff would walk in with what looked like olive barrels full of eyes. And I would be standing in the lineup for my parking permit, and I think, how gross. And I was just a little older than you, 1980. I think, how disgusting. This is so gross. I can't believe there's a high bank. You're standing away for parking permits. You know, what's the matter with these people? Because at your age, my mind was absolutely nowhere. I didn't think beyond the fact that, oh, gross, there are eyes in those barrels. It's disgusting. I didn't think in terms of restoring someone's sight. I mean, someone who is sightless, can you imagine, what that does for someone's life? It's a psychology. George has traveled around Europe and whatnot and understands the psychology of organ and tissue donation in Europe, in Spain, matches the development of the technology. We had the technology, the cars parked in the driveway, nobody bothered to learn how to drive it for 20 years. So now we're trying to really backtrack and say, hey folks, we have the technology, why are we doing this? If there had been a discussion in your family, there was a member of provincial parliament who stood up in the debate last week, and he tragically lost his 17-year-old son 2 years ago, and he said organ and tissue donation was absolutely non-issue. They were in shock, they were devastated. He was almost in tears speaking in Queen's Park last week. And he said, at the time, it was just not even discussed. He wasn't even asked. He said, but when I think about it today, I know my son. I think that he would have wanted to give the gift of life to others. And it really weighs on him every day that he didn't do that, because at the time he was immersed in the tragedy of it, but 2 years later he would love to know that his son had given something so tremendous to a person, to 20 people. George knows the specifics on that. So it breaks his heart, because he himself, the loved ones who were left behind, would be very fulfilled and comforted to know that the death of a loved one, although very tragic, has given life and something to others. And that's what people carry forward, and that's pretty much across the board. But of course, you'll formulate your own opinions and whatnot. When George first came to me, I just said, oh, come on, it's got to be against everybody's religion, somebody's religion. Poor George, he gave me literature on everything from Sikhs, and Sikhism, Hinduism, Muslim, Catholic, everything, and absolutely nowhere, does any religion that we were able to discover, does anybody say, even the Pope is quoted as saying, what does the Pope say?
Genuine act of love.
It's a genuine act of love. And if Pope John Paul II took made the time and took the effort to say it, then, I don't know how much more there is to say other than it's sort of a good thing all across the board. When we were at Queen's Park last week, they debated this issue, and it was unanimous. Yeah, everybody agreed. Great idea. And that was about putting this in the education system so that kids across Ontario, just as you're being educated on it, will also have the opportunity to be educated on it. How'd the radio thing go, George?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Angela's a good talker.
So I called you the Pamela Anderson of organ tissue donation.
Oh, no.
We're going to get you fitted for
I've
the
got my
Queen.
mini dress.
George, have you heard about the individual that is a living donor? He was used by Alighieri in CBC a little while ago, and all the hurdles that he had to go over, just even the evaluations, the tests, psychological tests as well, to prove that he wasn't doing this for any sort of selfish reasons, and what a difference it made in his life personally as well, and how that's also still a controversial topic. That should we let this happen? Yes. Thanks, Senator Down. Thank you.
And that's another area that the students can, because when we're looking at, Canada has the lowest rate. There's almost 4,000 Canadians on the waiting list right now, and more than a third of Canadians will die. And so we have the lowest rate. So when we're saying, are we maximizing all our potential to help save these people? One of the ways among improving the laws and doing some other things is becoming a life donor. Now that usually happens within your own family, and it usually happens with 3 organs: the kidney, the liver. You can donate a live liver, right? Split it in half, and then the other half, the half that you donated will go back in 2 weeks. The liver is a remarkable organ, and the person that you donated to is usually a family member. Goes back in about 6 weeks. And then, of course, there's your lung. You can donate a piece of your lung. So there's 3 organs, actually, live organs. Now, that happens within the family, usually. And the case that your teacher was talking about was, I think, one of the first in Canada. And so that might set the tone, or this might bring about a very positive, influence across the country, because you do have to go through a rigid screening before you become a candidate to do that, making sure you're doing it for all the right reasons. And it is a very heroic reason, no doubt about that. So, so there's, remember I said there's 3 things. The first was to learn as much as you can about organ and tissue donation. And then the second was to learn about the private members' bills and the 4 bills itself. Now the third, and this is probably the most important, is to, however you want to do it between a class, to come up with 4 questions for each bill. And put some real thought into it and see what, after studying the bills, come up with 4 questions. And then there'll be, as we're going, oh, by the way, Donina's going to be the moderator, you'll be taking her lead when she's. So as the debate is rolling along, we'll pick one student at a time to ask the 4 questions regarding the bills. And if you wanted to rehearse that a little bit beforehand, if you wanted to bring the class a little bit earlier at 12:30, just to go over any of that, you'd be able to.
The website, I immediately went to, the About George portion. I looked at the timeline, what happened to you in the 90s. And like those numbers, like of course when you needed the transplant and your waiting period, that window time, what was going on in your mind when you're being told that there's still another X amount of months or potentially years? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, that was the most often asked question. Well, I mean, it's in a very grim way, you say that's part of life. you know, sooner or later we're all gonna die. You just don't expect to get that call, you know, suddenly like that. So with me, well, I guess after I accepted it, or tried to accept it,
Organs. Canadians are shopping in the third world. So we're going to Zimbabwe. People can afford it. They're harvesting organs. You'll see in
China
India.
as well, with people who are being executed, right? There's a big market there.
And you'll see, you know, women are surrogacy. Americans, North Americans, Westerners are hiring women to be surrogate mothers, you know, to carry babies for them and whatnot. So it's a very slippery slope. We're taking their oil, we're taking their grain, we're taking their rice, we're taking their labor, we're taking their babies, their mothers, their organs. You know, that's another issue because I see that you're studying the developing world and issues too. So we've been, you know, breaking the third world for centuries, and this is one more thing. We have the technology to jump on board and take that too from them. So that's something else. That's another sort of side issue. I don't. Sure.
Look it over. I got it. Here we go. All right, class, don't forget that assignment on that inspirational story on organ donation. Make sure it's in, and thanks very much. Yeah!
You looking to the camera.
Before we go, we're going to see George next week, but I want to thank you, George, and everyone else that you brought with you as well. Thank you for coming. Thank you. We will be primed and prepped and well oiled for next Tuesday. Ready to dazzle. Thank you. So, Rob, basically, on You got it. Read it. I got it.
Great class.
Step-by-step.com? No, Step-by-Step Organ Transplant Association. Sorry. I can spell that out.
Google it.
Just Google
You
it.
should just do a step-by-step organ transplant,
Yeah,
and then it will come up probably.
So here's the idea for this scene.
Organ transplant.
Sorry, what's your
Sedation.
What sedation? Are you speaking to me? Do you want me to listen and type or look at you?
Can you do both?
Of course, multitask.
Okay.
Look at that website, the other one, yeah, the Toronto one, just you're looking at it. Okay. So communicate among yourselves as if like, okay, so do we know where we're going?
Where are we gonna?
Well, you can check on cityoftoronto.com.
That might work. That might.
Look,
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna call.
There's a search engine here. We can try here.
Hold on. Hello? Oh, you found it. Yes. Write this down.
I'll type it. Go.
Step by step. Organ Transplant Association. Thanks. I appreciate it. All right. Bye. Did you find it?
Yeah, there it
Oh, excellent. English.
is. Interesting. Mission
Yeah, this is everything we need. Excellent.
Wow, interesting.
Awesome. Oh, how to contact us.
Is that where you want to go?
Or,
Development? What about their mission statement? I found that interesting.
where's that? Step by Step is dedicated to heighten the level of consciousness about the importance of organ and tissue donation.
Canadian people worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Interesting. There's a day walk encouraging the precious consent system.
Developing national and local programs to recognize the donor.
Mm-hmm.
Developing a mutual consent program in Canada.
Step by Step website. Very.
Continue what you're doing. Just a sec. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
look, it's George.
George.
George with the Pope.
Oh, he met the Pope.
Wow.
Wow. Uh-huh. All about him.
The supporters. Pictures of
Oh,
life.
the Torch of Life.
Oh, interesting.
What's that about?
The Olympic-style torch was contributed to Step by Step from Aspiring Marketing. The Torch of Life has been playing an important role in Canada's 769-day walk in both a spiritual and symbolic manner. Many people are continuing to gather in communities aspire to take part in the torch carrying.
Yeah, wow.
Nice. Super. I like this website. It's actually very colorful.
Yeah. Easy to read. All about
George,
George.
let's go look at
All
that.
about George. I can't sing
Singer
or dance.
dance, so why not walk? I like that.
Ah,
Clever.
you walk
Clever.
across Canada.
Clever. Why take your organs to heaven when God knows we need them here? Nice.
Good quote. Good quote.
Very insightful.
Good quote.
Let's see what else they got here. Daily diary?
Oh, it's a diary.
So we'll be asking.
George is there.
Oh, okay.
MPPs.
Yes.
So we'll get the
Oh my
rest
God, it
of
looks like a
the
synopsis of his life.
I think it's daily, right?
Yeah.
Day 6, day
Oh, this is
22.
Stephen dating back to 2000.
Oh, I think this is his walk.
That's perfect, guys. So 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll leave here then at
So
12
we gotta
o'clock,
find this
and
site.
we'll
Usually I
walk
like
over
to check
there.
on cityoftoronto.com, so maybe we'll find something here.
That could work, that could work.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'm getting a call.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, they're probably not the.
Oh. Hello?
Yeah, they're gonna probably have to eat first lunch.
Oh, you found the site for us. Excellent.
That's good. Okay.
What is it? What is it?
It's about the mid-lunch.
Write this down. Write this down.
Not yet.
2:30 probably.
The site is called Step by Step
No problem.
Organ
That's
Transplant
good. I think it's good.
Association.
I think it's a great-
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Let's go.
There it is.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Mission statement.
Mission statement. Step by Step is dedicated to heightening the level of consciousness about the importance of organ and tissue donation to all Canadians and people
Yeah,
worldwide.
subconscious.
Our vision is to see a dramatic increase in the rate of organ and tissue donation in Canada and eventually the world. That makes sense.
Wow, it's powerful. A few sentences.
Powerful few sentences.
I like this one. Let's go.
That's perfect, guys. Great. Because then I'll.
Stay particular that I'm visiting these countries to gather more information so I can bring it back to Canada and hopefully it will help our country.
Hundreds of miles, and know that every step you take, there's one more. That's why we call ourselves Step by Step, Julie. Anyway, thank you for watching it. And on behalf of George and myself, we're really happy that you're here. And we're happy you're listening. We're happy you're talking about it. Keep in mind that you need to talk to your families. When I got my operation, by the way, the doctors told me no one has ever gone in somebody's wallet and looked for a card anyway, because they've got to go and get consent, and so just signing a card means absolutely nothing. You've got to talk to your family, and somebody else is going to make that decision, no matter what. So talk to them, tell them what you feel about it. If you don't know what you feel about it, enter into a dialogue, learn more about it. Thank you for coming, and I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Henry. George, do you have anything to say in conclusion? Well, let me say this. I want all of you to understand that you really are sitting in the presence of a true Canadian hero. So congratulations.
I just want to mention, like during all those stops that we made in all those different cities and communities, the majority of our stops were at schools. And we did that on purpose, because sometimes in the grown-up world, it gets kind of mixed up. you know. And I always found that when I came to the schools, they really seemed to have gotten the message more so than the adults. And so what we were hoping to do through our campaigns and Christopher's campaigns was plant the seeds in your minds, so that when you grow up and you're older, you'll be making a lot better decisions than we've seen, because it shouldn't be this way. We have great opportunity to save so many lives, and it's probably going to be up to you guys to make the difference. So once again, I'm really proud of how you took this on, and you came out looking like champs. Thank you.
Our afternoon together has come to a conclusion. As a group of students, you've done yourselves proud and your school. Thank you to the teachers for bringing all of you. You're great group. You're a very attentive group. I think you must have learned a lot today. Agree? Thank you. Good afternoon.